Civilization VII has finally released on all platforms. Hello and welcome to the Critically Curious. I'm the Monk, and today, yes, we are doing a full review for Civilization VII. Now, Civilization VII is a 4X strategy game. I think many people are familiar with Civilization games by now. It's been published by 2K. It will set you back around $59.99. It's available on the Xbox, the PlayStation, and the PC up on Steam. And there are a lot more expensive versions than the base game out at the moment on release as well. Now, for anyone buying on Steam, I do actually have a discount code that you could use to get a little bit money extra off this game, and it helps with the channel as well. So if you are looking to pick it up, watch the full review first, maybe have a look around to see what other people are thinking and make your decision after that, because you know, AAA rated games these days, they are a lot of money. Hopefully this video helps you answer the question, is it actually worth your money and your time? Now, for anyone not familiar with a Civilization game, the general idea of this game is you start off from, you know, day dot, a dawn of man almost, maybe a little bit further advanced in this game, however, and you need to build up your civilization, your empire, and create a legacy for yourself. Now, Civilization 7 kind of diverts from the previous installments of this game, and it changes up the base of this game quite a bit. Instead of picking a single leader and that being, you know, the culture that you play, you can actually change your culture, change your people as you progress throughout this game, which is very, very different and very jarring, I think, to a lot of Civilization players. So for anyone coming into it that's new to the franchise, you're probably not going to notice anything different. I think it's very much comparable with a game called Humankind. But for anyone that is very familiar with Civilization, it's going to be jarring. It's going to feel a little bit weird. What I would say before I actually go through, you know, a little bit more on this game is, if you like Civilization games, give it a go. Maybe not give it a go right now. Maybe wait for it to come on a sale, but give it a go, because once you actually play the game, you'll kind of see what they were trying to do. Now, this game does have many different layers to it, absolutely many different layers to it. Ultimately, you need to build yourself up an absolutely banging city. It takes a long time to build up a decent city, to build up your population of your city, to build up the districts in your city, to double down on whatever it is you're trying to do. There's lots of different elements that you can kind of go by as well. Of course, you've got the domination type of victory, in which you take out everyone on the map. You've got the science type as well. You double down and trying to get all those science buildings to get the better technology than everyone around you. Religion, however, was something that was quite heavily put in Civilization 6. That seems to be dulled down quite a lot. In fact, that seems to be a repeated factor throughout this game, is that a lot of the mechanics that were quite present in Civilization 6 have been dulled down quite a lot, and a few of the other mechanics that maybe were overlooked or just didn't even exist have been ramped up quite a bit and complicated in places. It's taken me, as someone who has played most of the Civilization games, it's taken me a fair bit to actually kind of understand what they're trying to do here, because they have changed the game in quite a drastic measure, and I'm not really sure what prompted them to do that, but I feel like, although it does feel like a Civilization game, at the same time it doesn't. And I know that's contradicting, I know that sentence is a bit it doesn't really make sense, but if you play the game and you're familiar with Civilization franchise, you'll understand where I'm coming from. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm a huge fan of Civilization games. In fact, I'm a huge fan of this game. However, there's nowhere near enough leaders from day one on release than there should be. Not only that, but you can't have huge maps. We are literally limited to a standard size map for whatever reason. Now, I've played a lot within this standard formation, and the map isn't necessarily that small, but it isn't as big as the last games. There are also the world, as in Earth. You used to always be able to play on Earth. That isn't in this game either. The UI, the HUD is minimalized. I'm not saying that it's bad, but it does seem like certain features are removed, and you have to kind of use your eyes a little bit more in order to find the details that perhaps you already knew existed beforehand. And at the same time, this game is a little bit interesting in the sense that there are some extra little features that they brought in. Every now and again, you'll have a decision that needs to be made. You'll have a choice that you want to kind of lead your civilization down, and it gives you a nice little bonus here and there, which I quite like. You can. It feels like diplomacy within this game is easier to do as well, in the sense that you're able to, click on the various civilizations around you, propose alliances a lot better, propose science trading, for instance, or, just generally trying to be friendlier towards other nations. It seems to be a little bit more accessible as they've brought in a brand new kind of resource, which is like an influence in which you can spend your influence on the other surrounding nations. Now, one of the biggest controversial things, if you ask me, is that they've actually removed barbarians. Now, personally, I used to love barbarians in the game, so I do think it's a little bit weird in how they do that. They've kind of mixed barbarians in with cityscapes. So if you played the last one, there were cityscapes and barbarians. They kind of mixed them in all together. The kind of independent nations that can grow and attack you, be kind of annoying and stuff like that. And it's up to you to either befriend them or of course eliminate them off that map. And if you do befriend them, you can actually integrate them into your empire given enough time. And that is something we should really talk about, really, because I do feel like Civilization 7 is a little bit of a slower game than the last installment of the game as well. I know that it is situated in like a three phase game, in a sense that you get different eras, different ages, and as you age up, the entire world ages up with you. So there is no getting to the next age before another empire. As soon as you age up, everyone else will age up with you. And I don't know, I just feel like that's a little bit anti Civilization. I kind of have always played Civilization games, and the idea of you having tanks and them only having cavalry is kind of iconic with Civilization games, and you understanding the mechanics behind the game in order to make sure that you have that advantage, that's kind of been taken out of the game now, and I'm a little bit disappointed with it. It's definitely a different type of gameplay now. However, that being said, his does seem like a bit of a mixed review. I'm giving you positives, I'm giving you negatives. There's a lot of familiarity with this game, like for instance the Hanging Guardians of Babylon. You can build wonders and have special people show up that can do great builders, for instance, great scientists. They all do the very familiar things that we are familiar with, but they've still changed enough for it to feel like a different game entirely. Now, one thing that I did quite like is the fact that your leader does actually level up, and you get different attribute points to spend on your leader. In other words, you can make your nation, your empire, the bonuses that you receive really truly customizable. Very much like the governors acted in Civilization 6, that's how your leader acts in Civilization 7. Now, it does take a long time in order to earn these perk points or these attribute points and to go down that skill tree, but it is there and you are able to do it. Another thing, when we're talking about actual skill trees, tech trees, I feel like a lot is missing. Now, this is at, of course, first glance. in the sense that when you very first start out, you are only in the first age. So it looks like the skill tree is considerably shorter. However, they do all have masteries, and of course, as you rank through the different ages of the game, you will see everything that, again, you are familiar with. And again, that goes for the civic trees as well. Both trees, both the tech trees and the civic trees, are still in the game. One thing that I was unsure of, however, was the cities. Now, this game is all about building up these amazing cities, and some of these cities that you create in the end do look absolutely awesome. And you know, it's kind of like organically grown throughout your story as well. You're picking, you know, where your city's expanding to, what it's doing, all those kind of things, all the buildings that you're putting down. There's a lot to do in that sense. But at the same time, I feel like the actual city management side of it is simplified in a sense that, especially in the last game and in games before that, you were able to kind of manipulate your cities in what they focused in. Now it's kind of like automatically done for you, in the sense that you've got the generic, oh, I want you to concentrate on food, for instance, or defense, whatever it may be, or production, let's say. But you can't actually manipulate the tiles and focus down and kind of like meta your cities anymore. And I think that's a little bit of a shame. Not to mention, when it comes to the UI, I just feel like something is just missing. Um, in regards to navigate, now I'm playing this on the Xbox Series X. You know, I'm playing it on console. This is a 4X strategy game that is definitely better, or going to perform better on PC. So navigating it with a controller can be at best clunky. When I go through all the information that this game has to offer, I just feel like I'm missing something, which is a little bit weird, and I'm sure I'm not missing it. I'm sure I'm just getting used to how this game plays. And maybe I'm just, you know, judging it unfairly, comparing it too much to the last game, comparing it too much to what I already know, rather than playing it for what it actually is. In fairness to the game, I thought the tutorial actually worked very well. I thought it popped up when it needed to pop up, it told me what it needed to tell me, and all the information about the game was there for me to cycle through if I chose to read it, or, you know, didn't understand anything anyway. I think only replaying this game many times are you going to truly understand the age system, truly understand the new mechanisms that have been put in this game, and of course grow to love those new mechanisms that have been put into this game as well. And of course, with all Civilization games, if you give it 6 months, if you give it a year, it's going to change massively than what it was on launch as well. I should also mention that within my first impressions video, I did mention that I did DC1. I did disconnect once within when I was making that video. Since then, I haven't disconnected at all. I have played many more hours since that video, and I haven't disconnected. So maybe that was just a one-time thing. So far, the game's performed very well. The sound effects are pretty good. I mean, it's a little bit different from the last game, but all in all, it's completely passable. I do feel like they have died down the amount of narration in this game from the last one. I will also say that the cutscenes, in other words, when you go to load in from your game, from right at the beginning to actually playing the game, is considerably faster. I do think that the last one, it was very painful waiting for your game to load, but now it does actually load rather quickly. I would also mention that graphically, I feel like this game has massively improved as well. It does look like a very nice, gorgeous game. Just watching, you know, your army fight, watching your troops move across the battlefield, watching your cities grow. It looks really good. I think that they should definitely be commended on that. All this being said, considering it is a bit of a mixed review, I've still really enjoyed my time playing this game. I love 4X strategy games. This is another 4X strategy game. It's on console, which is fabulous for me because that's how I like to choose to play. And it's a game that I feel like I'm going to be spending many hours in, you know, going forward. So I'm going to give this game a good solid 7.5 out of 10. It's definitely things that I would like to be improved. There's definitely things that I think that aren't necessarily amazing. Maybe I just don't fully understand them. But at the same time, I've really enjoyed it and I want to play more. Would I recommend you guys going out and getting it right now for the price it is, considering the amount of leaders, etc., that is in the game currently? Maybe not. Maybe I'd wait until it's actually on sale. Maybe I'd wait until it's 6 months down the line and we've got some more DLC. But I can tell you that I have enjoyed myself a lot playing it so far, and I do plan on playing a lot more in future as well. But if you stuck around to the very end of the review, a big thank you to you. Don't forget to comment red banana down below. Just confuse all those people that are new to the channel or that didn't watch to the very end. But until next time, I've been a monk, we've been Inquisitor Kudos, and I will see you in the next video real soon. Until then, take it easy and happy gaming.
The future is waiting.